Sequential geopolitical events of early 2026, the United States' military operation that led to the capture of Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro, and the evolving role of President Donald Trump in shaping U.S.-Venezuela relations. This story isn't just another headline. It touches on international law, American foreign policy, debates in Washington, regional stability in Latin America, and the future of Venezuelan governance. So let's dive in. To understand today's developments, we need context. Relations between the United States and Venezuela have been tense for more than a decade. Under Hugo Chavez and later Nicolás Maduro, Caracas pursued socialist policies, clashed repeatedly with U.S. interests, and was accused by Washington of corruption, human rights abuses, and undermining democratic norms. These tensions intensified into economic sanctions, diplomatic expulsions, and accusations of drug trafficking, all of which framed U.S. policy toward Venezuela long before the recent military action. On January 3, 2026, in a dramatic escalation, the United States launched a large-scale military operation in Venezuela. The stated goal was to capture Nicolás Maduro and charged him, along with his wife, Celia Flores, with federal narco-terrorism and drug trafficking offenses. The operation involved strikes at strategic locations in Caracas and resulted in Maduro's transfer to New York, where he now faces trial. Trump publicly announced the success of the operation from his Mar-a-Lago estate, saying the U.S. would run Venezuela until a transition can be achieved. This marks a dramatic shift from previous diplomatic and economic pressures to direct military involvement. President Donald Trump has framed the operation as part of his broader foreign policy agenda. According to his statements and policy moves, Trump justified the action by citing alleged drug trafficking threats and national security concerns. He suggested the U.S. would oversee Venezuela's governance for an indefinite period to stabilize the country and reform its oil infrastructure. Trump has been emphatic that international law is not a constraint on his actions, claiming that his personal judgment and policy goals take precedence. This rhetoric has sparked intense controversy, as it suggests a more unilateral American posture and willingness to challenge established norms of international conduct. Not everyone in the United States supports this intervention. A bipartisan group in the U.S. Senate advanced a war powers resolution aimed at limiting Trump's ability to conduct further military actions in Venezuela without congressional approval. This resolution passed the Senate 52-47, reflecting deep constitutional concerns about executive overreach. Former Vice President Kamala Harris, while critical of Maduro's regime, also condemned the Trump administration's actions as unlawful and strategically unwise, arguing it could jeopardize U.S. interests and endanger troops and regional stability. These debates illustrate the growing domestic political division over the crisis. Many legal scholars argue the U.S. operation violated international law. Article 2.4 of the United Nations Charter strictly prohibits force against the territorial integrity of another state without Security Council authorization or clear self-defense justification. The Maduro capture lacked these legal frameworks, making it a controversial act of aggression under international norms. Critics say this sets a dangerous precedent. If one nation can unilaterally remove another country's leader without oversight, the international order risks descending into might-makes-right politics. Inside Venezuela, the aftermath of Maduro's capture has been complex. Delcy Rodriguez, Maduro's former vice president, has been installed by Trump's administration as interim leader, a move that many Venezuelans and international observers denounce as illegitimate and foreign-imposed. Venezuelan government officials have rejected U.S. claims and declared Maduro still the rightful leader. In addition, Venezuela has reportedly released several political prisoners and activists at the request of the United States, though some see this as a strategic political maneuver rather than a genuine step toward reconciliation. Beyond Venezuela, countries around the world are reacting to the U.S. intervention. Latin American governments are divided. Some support a stronger stance against Maduro, while others condemn the U.S. action as a violation of sovereignty. Major powers such as China and Russia have criticized the operation, viewing it as an aggressive expansion of American influence and a breach of international norms. International human rights organizations and UN experts have labeled the action as potentially constituting a crime of aggression. These responses demonstrate the global stakes of this crisis. In summary, the capture of Nicolás Maduro under Donald Trump's direction represents one of the most significant escalations in U.S.-Venezuela relations in decades. It raises urgent questions about international law, presidential authority, global stability, and the future of Venezuelan governance.